Let's get it started.
Fire away.
Something, 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 fire away.
Fire away. I don't know the words to that song at all. Hello. Hello, Janet. How are you?
Good. Hi,
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Robot voice.
Retarded little brother.
Yes.
Darth Vader.
Garth Brooks Vader. Hello, I am not your brother.
Luke, I am your uncle.
I am
Twice removed from your father's side.
No!
I just read earlier that line was completely improvised. The "I am your father." I guess the guy,
really?
The line was supposed to be because Luke's like, "Oh, I know what you did to my father. You killed him, or whatever." And then Darth was supposed to respond with, "I know, and I'm going to kill you too." That was the line that they had written in the script, but the guy had forgotten his line and then just said,
James Earl Jones.
"Yeah," and it was just like,
Luke.
"No, I am your father." And then I guess like the director was talking about how, and then Mark Hamill, the guy who plays Luke Skywalker, just rolled with it, like they were in the moment, and then he followed it up with like him screaming no, and then just falling back into the.
And then they just figured if
and
we
they
have
were,
to do it
and
again,
then like,
we'll do it again.
Yeah, and then the director was like said that it was like catching lightning in a bottle, like it worked so perfectly and was.
Oh yeah. It was like one of the best scenes in the
it's like one of the most memorable scenes in like cinema history.
Yeah.
But I was reading about that and I was like, that's fucking crazy that they didn't even plan on that at all.
If he hadn't said that, would they ever reveal that he knew that he was his own?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was something they were going to reveal like in the next movie or something because he goes back and talks with Obi-Wan and Yoda.
Yeah, maybe it would have been just less dramatic or whatever.
Yeah. So
James Earl Jones forgetting his lines.
No, I am your father.
That'll get you. Something you didn't know while you're standing there with your
Fun
lightsabers.
fact of the day.
Yeah, and then he chops his hand off.
Yeah. There was other lines too. There, like it was like an article on like the top 4 lines in movies that were not like originally in the script. I can't remember. One was from Wizard of Oz, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
and there were
I've heard of that stuff. Yeah,
I think it's "We're not in Kansas anymore" line. Just was something that Judy Garland said at some point while they were filming, and then they were just like, "Whoa, cool,
gee Willie, there, Toto."
Let me see. Think of that Louis C.K.'s newest stand-up. Well, first they tore my legs off, and then they threw them over there.
Yeah. They're like, "You're going a little crazy with this. You're being dismembered."
Yeah, just. Never mind. Just stick with it. I don't care.
It's fine. Yeah.
Shooting's wrapping up. I'm done. Let's just finish it.
Yeah. What up? It's cracking. I'm ready.
Excitement, and then just sprinkles down and dies away.
Yeah, it's done.
Let's
just end this whole charade.
This would be a great episode if it was just 5 minutes long.
Yeah, and then we're like, fuck it, we're fucking done.
No, because somebody would be listening to it and be like, wait, it's over already? What is it?
No, are they trying something new? It's like some art project?
And then they just like hop on Twitter. Hey, I think there was a problem with your upload because it only uploaded like 5 minutes of the recording.
We should do like halfway through, like or right now, we should just like have a cameraman like jiggle the camera and then like go and then like pretend like some like event is happening and do some kind of Orwell fucking end of the world situation and just end it and then post
fill out a missing persons report.
Yeah,
to turn into the police.
Get way over our heads with the whole thing. I started watching The Killing over the weekend and it seems pretty dramatic.
The Killing, yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Sounds like I've heard of it. It sounds like a dramatic title. I don't know what it's about.
It's just like True Detective, where there's one case that they follow throughout the whole season. Mm-hmm. So every episode is just long and drawn out and super serious and very like by the end of it, it's like 80 million. Degrees of separation from the beginning, but then it ultimately is like the guy you saw in the very first frame or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's somebody who you wouldn't expect because they'd been there the whole time and they seemed like not a suspect or whatever. But we only watched a couple episodes of it, and
I might end up watching it at some point, maybe.
I don't know. I heard it. My brother was like, "Yeah, it's the best movie, best show ever." He was drunk, so he said it like that. It's the best show ever. It's the best.
Well,
show
I think if a drunk person says that, then it's that's clearly a reliable source.
He was very adamant about it.
So you had a crazy weekend then.
It was very fun. It was a lot of hanging out with the family. I went to Portland by train so that I didn't have to drive. And
I didn't know they got the railroad tracks all the way out of Portland.
Yeah, this newfangled thing. So I took the train, which was very convenient and luxurious, really, because you can just chill out. And then we hung out. We went to a really nice restaurant for lunch, and then we went to the Helium at about 7 o'clock. We went to the Helium. I don't know if they call it a nightclub, but it's not a theater. It's kind of a nightclub, but it's essentially a comedy club. I think it's just the Helium Comedy Club, and they do regular shows there. Doug Benson goes there. Ari Shaffir goes there. Lots of people go there. And Joe Rogan was there, and my brother bought me tickets. So I got to see
old JR, huh?
Yeah, my old JR, my old stomping grounds buddy. No, I've never met the guy. But we got to see him live, which was fucking awesome. It was... I kind of wasn't like super... like crazy about the whole thing until it started, and then once Joe Rogan came out, it was just tremendous. It was fucking way better than I imagined, and all the jokes were new and different, and he's very enthusiastic, and he tells his jokes just like he just commands the room. I mean, there's no amount of like getting bored or like thinking about other things. He just attacks the audience with fucking conversational jokes and divergent concepts, and then he'll come back and be like, oh yeah, and that's why fucking Diane's parents are fucking retards. And then it was just really good, and he's very just outspoken, so he's edgy, I guess is what you would say, because he's very confident about what he's talking about, but it's all funny. So, and he had Tony Hinchcliffe open for him, which is Tony, he has a podcast called Kill Tony. I haven't listened to it, but I'm sure it's pretty good. I think he interviews stand-up comics and other celebrities or whatever. And he was very funny, super dark. He's like he looks like Tosh, where he's just a white guy.
Looking.
Yeah, he's got that kind of like pretty boy, but skinny. And then he makes all these jokes about how he's not gay, but he lives in West Hollywood, and everyone thinks he's gay. And but then he makes a horrible, like, really dark jokes about like dead babies and like really dark shit. So it's kind of like Tosh, where you can kind of juxtapose the fact that you're a good-looking white guy and just say the worst shit ever, and it becomes funny. Yeah, but it's funny anyway. So, but yeah, that was really fun. And then today we just went on a walk, did Josh's podcast.
Spouting Off
with
old
Josh D. Gray or Josh Gray or whatever he says.
I think it's just Josh Gray.
I think it's just Josh Gray.
I don't think he throws the D in
his
there.
website is Josh D. Gray, so I always get them mixed up. But we did that podcast, talked about peaceful parenting and the differences between texting and calling people on the phone, because I guess that's a issue.
Well, one you have to kind of read, and then the other one's audible, and you can hear it.
Yeah, well, there's costs and benefits. So like one's more convenient and you have more time to respond. But it was mostly because my dad was getting pissed that we weren't responding to any of his correspondence, like through any medium, like text or email or Facebook or whatever. And so we sort of brought up the whole, like, what if you just don't respond right away? Like, is that a problem? But with texting, you take your time. It's
true. Texting, you kind of have like a little wiggle room on how quickly you can get back to people.
Right.
And sometimes you can just lie and be like, oh, shit, I didn't hear my phone go off. I'm sorry.
Or I was busy. I couldn't take 2 seconds to write okay on my fucking text. But then we talked about peaceful parenting, and it sort of just led into that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. We just sort of talked about it. But that was nice. And then I hung out with my mom and went shopping. I bought some Adidas soccer pants but they're for like running. I bought them for running and for bike riding because they have a tapered leg. So,
I just got running pants not too long ago that have the tapered leg. They kind of just
they come down,
your ankles, and they don't they don't go over your shoes or anything.
Right.
So those are really nice.
Yeah, because for when you're I just rode my bike with my jeans on, and which I've never done before.
That shit's kind of dangerous.
It's kind of dangerous. Yeah. I was scared because every time I would my right leg would move across the gears, it would hit the gear housing, which is just like this plate that covers them up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I got to get something to.
I've had my jeans get caught up in the chain
gears
and shit, and then you have to try to carefully stop without fucking wrecking.
Yeah,
and then you
gotta spend
scary.
Time. I would just
pulling
fall
your
over,
clothes out of it. And it just sucks.
I went on a bike ride for the first time in a while before I went to Portland, and I wore my helmet on the bike paths, which I always am tentative to do because I feel like people are going to make fun of me because I wear a helmet.
Well, do you want to be fun of, or do you want your?
But then I was like, yeah,
open?
That's exactly what I was like. Like before I left, I was like, I'm not going to bring my helmet. And then I was like, wait a minute, do I care about my head more than what if I get hit or I fall over? And I had just re-put my wheels on, my tires.
Like your training wheels, or?
Yeah, I just put them back on. So I was really paranoid. No, my tires were both flat, so I took them to Hutch's and got them filled up and double checked that they weren't flat, actually flat. They were just low.
Leaking. Yeah.
Yeah, and I took them both off and I put them both back on, but they're those detachable ones, and I realized that I don't know exactly the best way to put them back on, so I thought maybe I had fucked up, so I thought I might wreck myself before I checked myself.
Well, I mean, if you're worried about meeting the girl of your dreams and then her making fun of you for having a helmet on, she's probably not a good person to be with because she doesn't value safety and self-preservation.
Yeah, and I probably look pretty cute in my little green helmet and my little and you could,
I mean, if you're really uncomfortable, you could act mentally impaired, and then all is forgiven from their standpoint. If you're
totally. It's my bike.
On your bike. Can you tell me how to go to the door?
Yeah, that's after I find out that she thinks I'm an idiot. I'll just pretend I'm retarded. Hello, this is a nice bike I gave her birthday. Or something. I don't know.
It would just be funny if you started the conversation like a normal person, oh, I'm sorry, miss, excuse me, and then she was like, oh, you look like an idiot, and then you're like, I know,
you're mean, I don't like you. That would be funny, really. Ultimately, she'd just be weirded out more, which is what she
deserves. She couldn't make fun of you for impersonating somebody who's mentally handicapped because she was just being a kind of a bitch, which put you in that position. So she's a shitty person.
Yeah. Or I could just be I could be a retard who's really mean and just be like, yeah, you're stupid too, bitch. Yeah, okay, I don't wear helmets because I don't like my head. And then you just go straight to fuck you.
Dead serious.
I watched this YouTube video. It's just this guy going around to pretty girls and flipping them off and giggling. It's the stupidest thing ever. It was just this guy. He just had a cameraman. He would just walk up to these girls and go, hey, how are you doing? And then he'd flip them off and run off like a fucking 12-year-old. It was just stupid. But I watched the whole video, so I don't know if that makes me stupid, but probably does.
I don't know. It's up to for debate, I guess. I think that if you with what you watch determines who you are, then we're all probably fucking stupid. I think everybody is fallen victim to watching pretty terrible shit before, especially on YouTube when there's so many 1 or 2 minute videos of terrible things going on that you just can't pull away from.
I've seen a gorilla drink its own piss, so I can't see how that makes me any smarter. It doesn't bode well.
Other than you know that gorillas do that now. That's a fun fact you could just throw into a conversation sometime. Oh yeah, well, gorillas drink their own urine when it's coming out of their penises.
Yeah, and they enjoy it, and they don't mind being filmed about it. So why are you...
So I don't care that your kid won honor roll this
Why aren't you getting naked right now? Why are we still clothed and not, at my house? Because
in a relationship.
Yeah, why aren't we getting deep right now? She's like, I don't even know you, and you're talking about gorilla peeing in their mouth. In their mouth.
You just move over a bar stool to the next girl.
Throw it in there. Hey, did you know that gorillas drink their own piss?
I think if you say it like that, it sounds better.
Like a movie phone guy.
And you'd probably find somebody eventually who was drunk enough that they would find that fascinating.
They'd be like, and then a little light would go off on the top of my head, and it'd be like, ding. We found a winner. Loser. We found a loser.
You found a one-night stand who's gonna hate you the next day.
Yeah, probably. She won't like it. It won't be. Oh, what's that line from The Gladiator? You won't enjoy this. This won't be over quick, and you will not enjoy this. And then she says the same thing when she stabs him.
Yeah.
Because he stabbed her with his penis.
Weren't they like siblings or something? And then he just kind of incestually raped her? No. Okay.
They weren't related in that. I don't think so. But there was incest in that movie. It was with two other people. Mm-hmm. It was with the king, Joaquin Phoenix, and his sister. He was obsessed with her, which were two other characters.
Well, no, because doesn't Joaquin Phoenix say it to her before?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's the senator. One of the Congress dudes, senators guys, who is doing that to the Gladiator wife, Russell Crowe's wife.
Yeah,
Janice Crowe. I don't know her name in the movie. They give her a fake wife name too. What?
I don't know. Like I said, I would have to rewatch that to be familiar with that particular film's events.
I've seen Gladiator a lot.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. I just haven't seen it in
it's a good movie.
10 years or something. Speaking of Gladiator, what's your word for the week?
Yes. Segway. Like Paul Blart. Mall Cop 2.
We should go see that. I think that's going to be a winner.
Dude, we should go see it just for the laughs. Not for the laughs in the movie, but the laughs that we create about the movie. Yeah. And then we can talk about it and then do... Doug Benson does these things, and we could just steal that idea, where he does these movie interruptions where he'll sit in an auditorium and watch a movie with microphones, and then he'll record them just making fun of the movie with an audience. Like, he'll have his normal audience, like, listen to him, and they'll just make fun of the movie like you would normally do, but he'll rent the theater out to do it so that he can get away with it, you know? So we'll do, like, a shit version of that. No, anyway.
I don't have the money to... we can do it on, like, your couch with
nobody would
microphones.
Come. Yeah, we'll just play it on the TV and then get copyright infringement issues. But no, my word is... And... you'll be pretty excited about this.
Oh.
It's a doozy. It's Tantara. It is let's see here.
Tantara.
Definition: the blare of a trumpet or horn. That's it. I don't know, man. I'm reaching in the barrel for this one. After restoring the tomb to its former condition, we returned to the palace, but hardly had we sat down ere we heard the tantara of trumpets and clash of cymbals and the rattling of war men's lances. That is Sir Richard Burton from the movie The Arabian Nights, or the book?
Tantara!
Or maybe the event, The Arabian Nights? Maybe
I thought it was like Tarzan's sister or son or something like that, or relation to Tarzan, the fictional character.
Tantara? Oh, Tarzan? Tarzan.
Tantara and Tarzan.
Tantara. It sounds like a tantrum or something. You're having a tantrum.
It almost sounds like that it would, from a musical standpoint, it would be used to describe like a percussion instrument. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of sounds like a tom tom or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I just when you said that and then you started talking about it being related to music, I was like, I wouldn't think that it would be trumpets. I would just think of it being like.
It sounds kind of like
that you fucking bang together, or it's like a percussional type thing.
Yeah, it does sound like that. I don't know. Tantara. It's the blast of a trumpet. So
if you're writing like a war novel and you're trying to figure out how to describe the war horns,
the Tantara
of war horns
in the Vikings, they use Tantara abound
to signal the beginning of battle.
Yeah, or you're being invaded or some shit.
Nice.
What is yonder word?
Yonder
Verdenheimel.
My word is Effulgent. I'm hoping that got picked up on there.
Put it closer, it will.
Effulgent, which means shining forth brilliantly or radiant.
Oh.
Yeah. I am your brother of light and have floated with you in the effulgent valleys. It's from H.P. Lovecraft's Beyond the Wall of Sleep.
The effulgent That lady's quite effulgent.
It's very effulgent up in here.
You got that.
Hey, bartender, he's effulgent lights. Can you turn him down? I might be a headache, and it's really hurting my head here.
Oh, shit. That's fucking terrible. The most, the best vocabulary out of the worst mouths.
Yeah.
That bartender's quite effulgent. You know, like
That'd be a fun. I can see that being like a stand-up comedian's character. Somebody who just sounds illiterate but speaks very eloquently.
Yes. Oh, the tenacious. Like
the tenacious nature of that primal beast.
Yeah.
In this effulgent sunlight, I can't see him coming.
Oh, fucking A. Yeah, you'd have to write that out. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I like the character who's a horrible, like, sexist, racist Italian mobster stereotype, but who is also really progressive and like who's contradictory, like who says something like hey, like what, you don't believe in women's rights and women's right to choose? What are you, some kind of fag? Like, you know, that kind of contradictory characters.
Doesn't was that one of Zach Galifianakis' characters? I know he does a bunch of characters that are
I don't know.
a lot like just really ridiculous things like that. And he'll just say like one line of dialogue and then move on to his next character.
He has the his brother, I forget his brother's name, but he's like, oh, we like the Fugees. And yeah, he's like a gay Southern
I think his name's like Seth, maybe? I don't remember.
Seth Galifianakis? It might be, actually. That sounds familiar. But yeah, he it's essentially the voice he does in that movie where he's running for office with Will Ferrell. And he's got that Southern lisp.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it talks. Yeah. Wait, that's... yeah. What about that movie?
That movie was interesting. I don't even remember. We went and saw it in the theater, and I thought it was like kind of funny, and then I just never watched it again.
Mm-hmm. I just like Zach Galifianakis in it. Yeah. Both characters were funny, but ultimately it wasn't that. Like, each, little lines were funny, but the whole thing itself wasn't that great.
I just remember Will Ferrell punching that baby in the face.
Was that on purpose? Or on accident? Like he didn't.
He went to punch Zach Galifianakis. When he kissed the baby, and then he saw him coming, so he pulled back, and then Will Ferrell just.
Oh, it's like a slow-mo baby punch. Yeah, that's always good. Fucking A.
Good luck talking your way out of that one.
Yeah, I don't know. That politician.
The baby attacked me. Doesn't Will Ferrell just basically impersonate George Bush in that movie? He does like that.
Pretty much. Yeah, that kind of really oblivious but super confident and Southern.
Because he did that big one-man show monologue where I watched it. It was actually pretty entertaining in a weird way.
Well, George Bush was really dumb, and Will Ferrell's really good at making fun of him.
I just remember it wasn't even it was kind of funny, but I remember it just being interesting to see him kind of be so absorbed in that character. At a certain point you're
committed.
at a certain point you kind of forget that you're watching Will Ferrell, and you almost think that you are watching George Bush. Is just how well he does it. So
well, you don't see a lot of George Bush being jovial or candid. So when you see Will Ferrell do it, it's kind of that could be what he's like in real life or whatever. But it's a little over the top, I'm sure. Yeah. It just, we all have such a low opinion of George Bush. Or not we all, me and a lot of fucking people.
Most people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who probably don't think that way, but...
There's probably people out there that are trying to amend the Constitution so he can get back in office.
Maybe, I don't know. I think who's running for office next? Whenever the next elections
2016.
I know.
I don't know.
I heard Hillary Clinton and maybe someone else, but I don't pay attention. So
I don't either.
I thought you might have.
I'll just wait until they're listed, and then I'll maybe vote for one of them.
Why? It doesn't sound like you care at all. So
yeah, I don't know. I just like filling in little bubbles. It reminds me.
It's so fun. It's like color painting. I like it.
Reminds me of those tests that you had to take in school where you had to fucking fill in the
Scantrons.
AB. Yeah, and then you had to do it with a number 2 pencil. Make sure you filled it in solid.
Why a number 2?
I don't know.
Does the machine read the chemical composition of the graphite, or does it just
I have no idea.
tell if it's dark or not dark?
Yeah, because I feel like it would be a pretty simple machine. It would just run through and be like, this is the pattern.
Yeah, you match it with the test, and then it marks the ones that don't match the test. So I don't think it matters. Why would it matter? What we all just question that. We're like, no, I want to get a good grade. I don't want you to not count my test.
Exactly. I remember when the first time they said that, I was using a mechanical pencil, and I was like,
is this number 2?
Is this a number 2 pencil? So I had to like look at my little
number 3.
Canister of like little lead sticks refills, and it said number 2 on it. And I'm just like, oh, thank God. Like, I was worried.
I think it's a conspiracy. Probably the number 2 pencil company was like, we'll just get all colleges to use number 2 pencils in Scantrons.
They signed a deal with the government, and
yeah.
We'll use your pencils exclusively.
And we'll pretend like there's this machine that grades papers. It doesn't even exist.
Honestly, we just go through and
it's just
if
GTAs.
that person has a shitty name, we just mark off more than wrong than right answers.
If they have a shitty name, that sucks.
This guy sounds like a Mexican. Yeah. Well, we'll pass him. I don't want to be racist today.
Yeah, right. Well, let's be hard on these white folks.
That's what I was telling Vanessa. She's watching the Oscars right now.
Yeah.
And Selma, which is a movie about Martin Luther King, is up for a bunch of nominations.
Why is it called Selma?
Because it took place in Selma.
Oh, like North Carolina or something?
Yeah, maybe, or
Massachusetts.
Alabama or something. Selma.
I think Alabama.
I think it is Alabama. I can't remember. But it's like a name of a town.
Racist South area.
Yeah. But
if Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Oregon, there would still be slavery, right? Or segregation or whatever was going on at the time. Because he wouldn't have been subject to all the racism.
It's true. He would have been like, what are you talking about? Life's great.
Man, I just go fishing. I don't know why it would still sound Southern. Never mind. Continue.
I don't think you're talking about it at all. But
did it not win anything or won everything?
I think it probably won a couple things. But I was like, I feel like they get strong-armed because 12 Years a Slave won last year, I think, for the Best Picture. And I was like, they had to win because they would just get a bunch of racist feedback if they didn't win.
They got snubbed by the Oscars.
And so when they said that Selma was up for all this stuff, I was like, well, Selma's probably going to win a bunch because if we don't let it win, then we're all a bunch of racist assholes for not letting the Martin Luther King movie win.
If we're racist because we didn't like the movie with the black people, isn't it racist to not like the movie with the white people?
No, racism is just tricky. It's not
tricky. It's pretty fucking specific. No, it's essentially white people are racist. Black people are not racist.
That's the racist thing about white people is that we're all racists.
Yeah,
that's like our racial stereotype is that we're racist.
Everyone else is just fine.
Yeah,
they're good. They're not racist. They don't have any issues with the other races.
No, I'm black. How can I be racist?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I hate white people. What are you talking about?
White people aren't a thing.
Yeah,
they're the racist peoples.
Yeah,
they're gonna not call us white anymore. They're just gonna be like, oh, you're one of the racist peoples.
Instead of
you're one
white
of the
peoples?
racists. Yeah, we'll just all be racist.
Whitest peoples.
Yeah, the white power.
White power.
But Selma didn't win Picture of the Year. Birdman did, actually, which I think is a good choice. Yeah. I don't really know what else it was up against, but I liked that movie a lot, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it was a very unique, very interesting movie. So I think it definitely deserves some recognition for its creativity, at least. Mm-hmm, I mean, if you're making art and everyone's making the same, they're telling the same fucking stories over and over again with new visuals. This is a very interesting story. So I very much enjoyed Birdman.
It was a very interesting ending as well, but.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending, but I don't like a lot of endings, especially like the more independent, the more artsy, the more like psychological the movie is, the more I critique its ending because I feel like if it doesn't adhere to some consistent principles that they're talking about in the movie, then it annoys me. Mm-hmm. Like if the whole movie is optimistic and positive and then it ends with somebody dying, I feel like it's just a trick. It's just a way to go, oops, you didn't expect that, audience, did you? It's like, no, because you haven't alluded to anything negative the entire fucking time. This was all like this was like an uplifting fucking musical, and then all of a sudden you murder 3 babies. It's like, that's not a statement. You're just surprising.
No, it's a shock.
Yeah, it's just shocking. Shock value. Exactly. So, and then with Birdman, the ending, it leaves it to like either the girl is crazy too, or he's actually actually a Birdman. Fuck that. That's retarded. He murdered himself like 3 times in that movie. So he's a suicidal person. He killed himself.
Yeah.
That's my only interpretation of it.
Yeah, those are like ambiguous endings. I feel like if they're done well, where you can reach like 2 or 3 pretty concise conclusions about what happened, it's good. But in that movie, I don't know.
It has to be.
It was such a strange,
realistic or something.
Yeah, it was just such a strange way to end the movie that I couldn't. I felt like I couldn't come up with anything that made sense with the rest of the movie. Like I was like, oh, if he really killed himself, then why would she be happy? Did she really hate him that much? Like it didn't seem like that was the relationship that they had. And then if he really flew away, that doesn't make any sense because the whole movie seemed to be based in a very realistic setting. Other than those like fantasy.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it because the whole thing is just this kind of like roller coaster train wreck. He's crazy, and then they try to make it out like he's not crazy because he did something well in what he was trying to set out to do. It's weird. This thing is moving. Anyway, my microphone is moving back and forth.
I think it's
because your leg is moving.
My legs is
It's just tripping
all
me out.
Fidgety.
I'm like, am I tripping? Is this moving? Am I crazy?
It's that earthquake scenario that you were talking about earlier.
And then we'll have to like walk slowly over to the camera to turn it off. Anyway, but no, it was that was the only part that I kind of had an issue with. But otherwise, it was very entertaining, very interesting, a lot of fun to watch. Completely focused in on the movie. I don't like movies where you stop. You have time during the movie to like look around at the theater and be like, well, okay, I'm at a theater. This is fucking kind of boring at this point. Maybe Twitter's got something going on. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Back to the movie.
Oh, that's exciting again.
Kind of like Kingsman, just fucking enthralling the whole time. Just that's what I go to a movie for. I mean, I can critique it to death, but the idea is to enjoy it for the 2 or 3 hours or whatever.
And then we both just watched The Voices recently, which was like,
Sorry, I'm tired.
Wow.
I'm tripping. Don't worry about it. You don't know.
Really
Pretend it didn't
interesting
happen.
for a second. Which is a great movie. Has Ryan Reynolds in it and Anna Kendrick.
Yeah, I didn't know she was in it until I watched it, and I was like, oh, she's like a very famous actor, and she does a really good job in the movie, and it's such a weird movie.
It's a very like offbeat kind of indie film, and I just felt like ran across it when I was I have like an app on my phone of just like movies that are coming out in theaters and ones that just came out recently like on DVD, and I just check it every once in a while to see if I've like anything slipped through the cracks that I missed or if there's a movie coming out that I want to see, and I saw that pop up on like the upcoming releases for DVD, and I was like, oh shit, cool. And then I checked it out because I like Ryan Reynolds. Like I think he's kind of one of those underappreciated actors. Like he's had some like dumb films obviously, but I feel like he does a pretty good job. And then in this particular film, I thought he did a fantastic job because he voices himself and his animals, and it was all very entertaining. But for those who don't know, that movie's about him. He's just gotten out of like a mental asylum, and he's like on medication, and he's trying to kind of reintegrate himself into society. He's got like a kind of a steady 9-to-5 job, and he's just trying to like get back into living after some traumatic childhood experiences. And then some shitty things happen, like a lady gets killed on accident, and
and he's schizophrenic, so he's delusional, and he hears voices coming out of
his animals,
his pets, and then eventually through the lady, or what?
Yeah, because he cuts her head off, and then it's just hanging out in his fridge.
Yeah, it's very disturbing, but so lightly done. It's from his perspective 90% of the time, and so it just kind of like, it seems kind of like, okay, this is what his world's like, and it's not that bad to him. But then when he starts taking the pills, he like sees the reality of everything.
That was like my favorite part. It was a really good. It was when he takes the pills for the first time, and then the whole setting changes. Like this whole house is just goes from like this nice, normal-looking, clean house to just like a shitty
dump
alley back
cat
room
poop on the ground.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like it actually kind of threw me for a second, and then I realized that he had just taken the pills, and then when he like goes and makes himself throw up, and then he wakes up, and then everything's back to like this magical normalcy. And I was just, and it was interesting because it made you like kind of sympathize with him in a weird way. You're like, I kind of understand why he doesn't want to take those pills. Like seeing how he sees the world without them compared to how it looks in reality when he is on the pills. Because it's like obviously he needs to be on the pills so he can function as far as like being normal, whatever normal is in society. But at the same time, it's his like existence is pretty miserable, so you can understand why he wants to kind of escape. And then his childhood, when they show those scenes with like what his stepdad did to him, and then like his mom had him like kill her, and I was just like, God damn, no wonder why this poor guy's got all these fucking problems. It was one of those movies because like after he accidentally kills that girl, then he like starts killing other people so that she can have friends to hang out with. You're just like, oh, this is fucking dark. Like now he's like a serial killer, but in this weird way you're like kind of sympathizing with him because he's really just a lonely guy who is just like wants company. And it was just it was like lightly done, but then like kind of dark and depressing. It was just a really interesting movie.
It ramps up at the end, and it kind of turns darker and more realistic. But at first it starts off kind of lighthearted and like, oh, he's just a fucking quirky guy who's hearing voices. But then you're like, well, without proper attention and without really, I mean, you can get into really shitty situations, especially because he has violent tendencies anyway. So it was just a really interesting movie to watch. A little bit disturbing in general. I mean, super violent ultimately. Like it's a pretty violent movie and kind of hard to... I found it hard to be sympathetic, although they did paint a realistic picture of his life. Like it's you know, he was fucked up and traumatized, and this is where he's at, and so it made sense. It was all very logical as far as realistically, and they did a good job of. I like when they show the difference between his reality and the actual reality. You know, because he's so delusional, but you don't know it right away. So
because the first like 20-30 minutes of that movie, you think that you're just like, oh, that's not. He's it's cool that he's like you know nice making guy, but then it's. Just gets really dark. I think the only thing that bothered me about that movie was his psychiatrist, because there's like a couple of times that he admits that he's not taking his pills, and then she's just kind of like,
you should take your pills.
You really got to take those pills. I'm just like, I feel like you would maybe let them slide once with that, but then like if the second time they come in, they're like, no, I'm still not taking my pill. Like she would have to report him, because she even was like, oh, I'm gonna have to report you, and you have to go back and you don't start taking your medicine.
She should have
tells him like 3 times at least before he just kidnaps her finally that he's not taking them. I'm just like, I feel like this lady's not very good at her job, because she's not taking the proper precautions, and kind of is part of the reason why more women die in that movie than what would have been necessary. Yeah,
they definitely didn't. His psychiatrist wasn't particularly beneficial to him at all. So, and he definitely admitted that he wasn't taking them, or he was planning on it, but then he wasn't. And obviously the pills were kind of like a buffer between like his murderous side and being able to live, you know, a normal life.
Well, because the animals are the ones, especially the cat is the one that's kind of like talking him into murdering people, especially towards the end. It's kind of like his evil side, and the dog is like the good side.
It was the devil angel thing. I like that.
And so when he's not on his pills, he's not being kind of egged on by the cat to do things that he shouldn't do, or that lady's head, for example, as well. She was kind of like egging him on.
I want a friend. It was creepy.
My favorite part in that movie is anytime anybody would knock at the door, his dog would be like, "Oh, intruder! I'm gonna take a bullet for you. I'll take the bullet for you." It was just really funny.
It's funny and it's well done. It's a very interesting movie.
The cat just made me laugh all the time, like especially in the beginning, and then as he gets more evil, it was less funny. It
was more like I want to murder this cat, but
the cat at first was just hilarious, because it comes across as just like this very stereotypical grumpy cat, like because people always kind of say that cats are just there to eat shit, and as long as you feed them, I mean, they don't care about you at all.
Right.
So it just made sense, but.
It was fun.
I recommend watching it if you like kind of psychological dark comedies.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, for sure. Definitely,
After I watched it, I was like, oh man, Joe's gonna have to watch this, because just from all the psychological stuff, I was like, Joe, well, this is kind of right up his alley with like all the psychology and then the humor and stuff. So
it was. I didn't know what to expect at first, and then I got into it, and I watched the whole thing, and it was enjoyable. the very end is like this musical sequence, like he dies.
That is very.
It was just like, whoa, I don't
really
know
weird.
about this part.
Yeah.
I just sort of turned it off midway through the song at the end, and I was just like, I don't like how it's kind of discombobulating to have horrible stuff happen and then to have them celebrate it with a song. It's like, this is not funny.
I think that if they really wanted to do that, they should have just done as like a post-credit sequence or something. Like, it should have just ended with him, fading to black when he just lays down, when they're just like, oh, just lay down in the smoke and just come home. And like, it should have just faded to black and the credits should have rolled, because it's obvious what happens right there.
Yeah, I would have liked that more.
And then they could have done the music scene like after the credits if they really wanted to do it, because it was really kind of weird. I was like, I remember when it started doing it, I was like, is something else going to happen? Or like, I don't. So I watched it all the way through, and then it's like they just do the whole musical number.
Yeah.
And then the credits starts rolling, and I was like, that was fucking weird.
I'm sorry I murdered you all. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. It's like, I don't. Fuck that. There's no heaven. So this guy's just dead, and I wish he hadn't murdered these people. So, but it was still interesting for sure.
Well, next time if you watch it again, just turn it off.
Yeah,
right? As it fades to black, just pick up over.
I don't think I would watch that again. I just don't.
I don't know. I might watch it like one more time just for the entertaining kind of back and forth between him and the pets and stuff. Like, it was entertaining enough that I might watch it again, but it probably won't be anytime in the near future.
No, probably not. Yeah. What movies are coming out that you are looking forward to?
Chappie next week.
Yeah, is that next week already?
It's March 6th. No, I think it's
That's pretty soon.
Like a week and a half away. So.
Yeah.
We actually went and saw Jupiter Ascending yesterday.
Yeah.
And
how's that?
Meh.
Yeah.
Very standard sci-fi film. The special effects were amazing. The fight choreography and the dog fighting sequences were just really cool.
When they're flying around.
But the dialogue was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Just like Twilight level awful.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like a couple of really painful scenes between Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis's characters, because it just magically, a third of the way into the movie, she's just like has feelings for him and is in love with him, but then they have these just really uncomfortable like dialogue exchanges about it that seems like it was written by like a fucking 13-year-old boy or something. I don't know.
I like you.
And it was one of those movies that was like, it was a cool visual spectacle, but it just had the most generic,
super
like kind of story, and then the dialogue was just really hokey.
Yeah.
But it's kind of worth checking out just for the fight. Like I said, the fighting was really cool. Like Channing Tatum's character has these like crazy jet boots essentially, and he can just do really cool shit with them. So it was interesting to watch. You can definitely tell it was like a Wachowski movie.
Oh, is that who did it?
Yeah.
What else did he?
They did the Matrix movies, and then they've done. They did that Speed Racer movie. If you ever watched that, I didn't watch. I
don't think I watched the whole thing, but I watched pieces of it, and I was like, "Fuck." Speed
the only
Racer.
thing that those guys have done that is of note is the Matrix. I feel like that was like their lightning in the bottle, and now they just are living in the shadow of that success.
Yeah, and that gives them the opportunity to make more movies, and if they
that movie's bombing in the U.S., but I guess that they tend to do better in the worldwide
the
box office, international.
dumber countries, and dumb European fucks.
Also, a fun story about a lot of people probably know this. Maybe I don't know if people are familiar with the Wachowskis, but I kept saying Wachowski brothers because I remember when the Matrix, they're like, "Oh, the Wachowski brothers did it," and and then Vanessa was like, "What are you talking about? They're not brothers." And I'm like, "Yeah, they are." And she's like, "One of them's name is Lana." I was like, "They were the Wachowski brothers." Come to find out, he had a sex change. So,
oh, that's what happened. So now it's the Wachowski brother and sister.
Yeah, because I was like,
a brother.
It kept throwing me off, and then she looked it up finally because I kept saying Wachowski brothers, and she's like, "No, one of them's a girl," and I'm like.
No.
Well, maybe there's 3 siblings then.
Yeah.
Maybe the brother and sister are doing a movie now. And then come to find out one of them just had a sex change. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's kind of weird, I guess, because we kept talking about it. But
if you got Matrix money, you can fucking change your sex anytime you want. Fuck it. We're just in the Matrix. It doesn't fucking matter. But Chappie looks fucking great.
Yeah,
I think District 9 is one of my favorite movies of all time, and then the one that he made after that, which was Elysium, which I thought was fun and interesting, and not quite as it
wasn't as unique as District
it wasn't
9.
as unique.
It was
dark.
a little bit more like of a kind of a streamlined, like more popular type of sci-fi.
A little bit more poppy, but then Chappie looks really good. I don't know if it'll be super high high scale. Like
Chappie
Elysium,
seems a little bit more like District 9, and then it seems like he's trying to do something kind of unique. Within the idea of like robots becoming humane, I guess. And then he just signed on to do an Alien movie, which is very exciting. So they've done 4 Alien movies. 3 and 4 were god awful. Actually, 3 is not that bad. It's just not that good either.
Yeah.
But Alien 1 and 2 are amazing. You still have them and need to watch them.
One of these days.
But yeah, he did a bunch of concept art, I guess, and Fox Entertainment like looked at it and then kind of signed him on to. I don't know. I imagine it'll be like a reboot type thing because I don't know where they would go with like a sequel to that. But so that's exciting. If he's like one of those guys that if they were gonna do like a new Alien movie, he would be like one of the best choices, I think, to take on a project like that.
Yeah. Definitely, if you want something creative, then I think he does a pretty good job. At least, especially with like the action and the cinematography and the general content, just seems to be a lot of. It's like tech mixed with modern culture, but like in a post-apocalyptic kind of a sense. Like everything seems to be a little bit like. Kind of like 10 years out, like everything, like, both those movies are like that.
Elysium especially was like that because it was...
that was like 100 years out.
Yeah, it almost seemed... Well, I think that the sequences when they were on Earth seemed like something that could happen within like 10 or 20 years. It was the Elysium like spacecraft thing,
super advanced.
That's like, oh my god, that's not something that would happen for a long time.
It would take forever to build that thing. But yeah, Chappie looks really good. I like that the people from Die Antwoord are in it, and they're super South African and weird, and they're in like a major movie.
He does almost all of his movies were filmed in like South Africa, weren't they? Because District 9 and Elysium, I think both were.
Yeah. I think
Chappie is
he's
too.
Probably from there or whatever, but that main character he uses in both of those movies and in the newest movie is South African. That's why he has that really crazy South African accent. But Die Antwoord, they're from South Africa, and I just think that's really interesting in there. I like their music, so I know a lot of people get into it because of that. What else is coming out that looks really good? I know there's I've watched some trailers that look pretty cool. Like Ant-Man could be good. There's a new Marvel movie that could be good.
Yeah,
probably will be good.
Usually any of the Marvel movies, like they're pretty much a guaranteed like fun kind of popcorn munching blockbuster.
Yeah, just
thing. You just go for the entertainment.
Yeah, and then you have not Edward Norton, but not Harry Connick Jr. What is this fucking guy name? I can never forget.
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. It's the 3 name people I always get mixed up, and he's like the reason why I like those movies for the most part is because he's so funny and witty and all that, and charming, and I love him. But that should be pretty good.
Fell in love.
I just love.
Yeah, there's not really much else. Ex Machina comes out in April, and that movie.
That's that one about artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
as
where
well.
he like signs an agreement and then goes out to like his boss's place.
Yeah,
and then the whole movie is an experiment between him and then like a self-aware artificial intelligent woman. And it looks fucking good.
Do you think I'm the thing, or are you the thing? Are we both the thing? Like
it seems like it's
like a
kind of like
confused the man. Who's the who's in charge?
That'll be the twist at the end. Is he's the robot and she's the.
I bet that is the
person.
Twist. I bet they're both robots.
Yeah,
I think he created both of them, and then what the goal was to see if they could figure out if anyone could figure out that he was a robot.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting
she's
twist.
Obviously a robot.
Yeah,
she doesn't have a head. She just has a face.
It seems like as the movie progresses, she gets like more. Because I've seen parts in the trailer where she has like more like kind of organic looking body parts.
And they make her super sexy and
probably
bald.
And then they go to have sex, and his penis is just like this metallic, just fucking jackhammer. Just whoa, what is going on here?
Yeah, why would they need a penis on a robot? It doesn't make any sense, unless it's for a sex robot, which makes sense. Obviously, we need sex robots. That's important.
For the lonely people who are socially inept, it is.
Yeah, well, just for anybody who wants to have sex and
with
strings,
no commitment and
no
emotional baggage.
Yeah, I think that would work. It'd sell. It already does. They already have sex dolls.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird in the future when they inevitably are like
awesome.
almost realistic.
I don't think it's gonna be. It'll be weird because
it'll be weird.
It'll change like culture, but I mean, all it's gonna do is make it so that women have to readjust their sexual strategies, and men have to readjust their sexual strategies as well. So, if you want to be with a real human, then we all got to act better, because we have options to like completely cut out the bullshit. Mm-hmm. But, relationships aren't just about sex, I think.
You said that and then you hesitated a lot. So I was like, ooh.
No, I was thinking like, obviously for a 15-year-old it is, but for, a 35-year-old who is lonely, then it's a different situation. So they might want to actually be with a human being who can hug them and, tell them everything's going to be okay. But if a robot can do it, it might be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's kind of like a guy thing. I think girls are like, why would you want to be with a robot? But for a guy, it's like, it's not that I want to be with a robot. It's that I don't want to be with a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with an asshole or finding one or, all that. So it's just a solution to some of those problems. It's like a fleshlight with a face.
Modeled after your favorite actress. And
speaking of which, Anna Kendrick is uber cute in that movie, in the Voices movie. I was just like, oh my God, she's super fucking cute. Why would he not want to be with her immediately and then not kill people and then like have a life with her? Like, I don't get it. She's uber cute in that.
My first thought when I was watching, I was like, who sleeps together after their first date? That's happened to me 0 times.
I don't know.
Yeah, because they just like went out one time, and then I'm just like, what?
Well, she was really into him for a while, so she just sort of gave it up. But I don't know. I guess that happens.
I guess if you look like Ryan
you
Reynolds,
don't date though, and neither do I. So neither of us have any, like first person experience with that. I mean, I've had. I don't want to talk about it. I actually I messaged a girl on a dating website the other day, which is kind of a rarity for me. And we had this nice little conversation, and it was going really well. And then all of a sudden, she told me that she didn't believe in modern medicine, and that all of cancer is a conspiracy, and that cancer is created because of parasites and mold. And at
that point, you're just like.
I was like, oh, I got to go to bed. I'm sorry. This has been nice. I'll talk to you never again. It was really disconcerting. I was like, God damn it. And she wasn't, she was my age, and she, it was like all the little things matched up except for...
She didn't believe in God and fucking hates kids.
No, I don't hate kids. I love kids. I actually have been thinking about kids a lot more lately as far as like possibility. So it's an interesting...
That'll probably open up the mating circles for you considerably.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of females are still tentative about the whole process too. They don't necessarily know if they want to get into it, because if they don't have a kid by now at the age of 30, they're kind of running out of time, and they might not be interested in having kids. A lot of people aren't. So
is that like your end game? Since you're still on the fence about having kids, you'll just be like, oh, I'll just wait till I'm old enough that women don't care about kids anymore, and then it's just a lot easier for me. I don't have to make any decisions.
No, that's not what I wasn't like gonna
I figure plan here, strategy.
My idea is that if I'm gonna date someone who is at the age where they're getting to the point where they have to make a decision if they're gonna have kids or not, then I need to be pretty sure about my desire to have kids or not, and just be upfront about that. But if I date someone a little bit younger, it gives both of us more time to get to know each other, and because I don't have a limit on when I can stop having kids, whereas females do.
Yeah.
So I can, if I'm not sure, I should take that into consideration, and I'd like to have enough time with whoever I want to be with to determine whether or not if we're going to have kids, we need to be together forever after that. So, if we take a couple years to figure it out, then I don't want them to be like 35, and then by 37 we decide to have kids and we have a bunch of miscarriages, or because the later it gets for females, the fertility just goes down like dramatically, and it's dangerous, and it's not the best situation. And I don't, if you're rational and you believe in science as it indicate, like if you're not just like, well, God will decide if we're gonna have a kid or not, and if it's healthy or not, it's like I'd rather have the best opportunity to have a healthy kid, and a good proportion of like chance to have a good birth as well.
Yeah.
So I take that into consideration when I'm not dating.
You debate
I'm
with the
not
power of
dating
science.
Yeah.
With the power of science, I've decided.
Yes. So those are just considerations, but I have been thinking about maybe what it would be like to have kids, or what like my role in, like, because at this point I'm not going to cure cancer. I'm not going to do anything that's going to like really impact the world. I mean, I could maybe soon, whatever.
True.
I'm, who knows?
You might
I'm
have
open
like a
to
crazy dream one night, and then it's just the answer.
But I don't think nothing's happened yet that is like uber like fulfilling. But if I had a kid and I raised him really well with a really awesome person, I think that could be a good contribution to the world, and that might be something that I could do, and I think that would be worthwhile. But whether or not that is what I decide to do is that's still a huge deal. So, but it's a different avenue.
Yeah.
That I haven't really thought about before. It's more like my last ditch effort to like make an impact.
That's like, it's like what they say about people who become teachers. They just couldn't decide to do anything else, so they'll just teach people to try to be better than they are.
Yeah, I don't know. Something will happen.
Well, I mean, if it all falls through, just get like 4 dogs and a couple cats, and
and just take care of those fucking things
raise all of them
until they die before I die.
Yeah, and then just start the process over again. You just keep doing the process until you finally outlive your animals.
Until I have to pass.
And then they'll go to a shelter.
Really old animal. Yeah, that sounds terrible. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. We all fucking die, and there's no reason for life.
That's the sad truth, is that there is no reason or purpose, really. Technically, scientifically, our purpose is just to procreate. That's why we're here.
That's our
just to
genetic
mate
imperative.
And continue on for some reason.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a choice. Doesn't matter what we think about it. That's just what will happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we can choose individually what we do, but ultimately, like, there's no overarching guy in the sky going, "Why aren't you mating, bud? Why aren't you doing it with people and making babies? Going to war."
I'm tired of making people myself.
Yeah, I can't do this on my own. I'm God. I'm not. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm not like God. I'm just God. I'm just a regular old God. I just made things start happening.
Then I retired.
And then I retired, and I went, to Elysium, and they got nice food and free healthcare and shit.
Then I've been fishing ever since.
Yeah, I like fishing. Fuck you. Well, that could be.
No, that's my interpretation.
I like God. I'm not God. I'm just, I started a project. Went haywire. I don't know. But you got to keep it going.
That'd be a fun story to write. Like, it's a guy just starts going around talking like that, saying that he's God, and then everybody just thinks he's crazy. And the twist at the end is he's really God.
Yeah, he gets into his spaceship.
And then it just shatters so many people's realities and perceptions of what life is.
He's just like picking belly lint out of his fucking belly, and fucking he's just gross, but like kind of okay, like fine, but he's a nice guy.
I didn't make no showers. Y'all did that. I don't believe in bathing. What are you talking about?
Why do you think I made the clouds, dumbass? It's just to cool you down, make it a little wet. Fuck it. I don't know. You all are obsessed with cleanliness. I made germs. I didn't.
And I made more germs to try to combat all this hygiene y'all's talking about.
Why do you think there's fucking cancer? Because of soap.
I put cancer bugs in all y'all's soap.
Yeah, I put cancer bugs. I mean, shit. I thought you'd get the message by now. Cancer has gone up correlarily. I don't know the words.
I had to cancel like 5 fishing trips so I can make more cancer bugs to kill y'all with.
Shit. Cancer bugs. That's a good
And I have to come up with all kinds of. I have to make diseases to put inside your little pee holes just to try to kill some more of y'all. I got some fucking
STDs.
AIDS. I had to make AIDS in the 80s because y'all was living too long.
Yeah. God damn it. I need friends in heaven. Fuckers.
All my friends left and went to fucking hell. And they told me this was going to happen.
The What If God Was One of Us would be the theme song of the whole song.
Yeah. It'll just play, and then the movie's just interspersed with tons of montages, and then it just plays the What If God Was One of Those videos. It's just him doing disgusting things for 5
it has to be a black woman, though, who talks like that, or else it'll be a racist movie.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I don't know. It could be Ethiopian. I figured out if I was another black stripper name is Ethiopian butter.
What?
Because Ethiopia is where coffee's from, and when we took a cab, the guy was Ethiopian, and then we were talking about grass-fed butter in coffee, so it just sort of all went together, and I just made up a stripper name, Ethiopian butter. My name's Ethiopian Butter. Next on the stage, Ethiopian Butter. And he just comes out, wiggles around.
He's got to look like he's starving to death, though. It's the only way he'll qualify.
Yeah, I don't know if Ethiopia is really that bad anymore. I think I think we just saw like one ghetto in Ethiopia, and they were just like, send us money, this poor kids. But really, like, they're fine.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
They have like the second fastest internet in the world, and
yeah, right. They're just like fucking typing away, fucking sending out these videos of the one kid in town that like
they figured out that's like their scheme to prosperity in that country is that they just made a lot of money making these poverty videos, and that's just all they do now. That's how people make a living. They just starve one of their kids to death and then film it with his friends, and then they're just like, oh,
send us a quarter a week. Is that a lot of money? I don't know. We don't have money. We just have coffee
and butter.
Yeah, and grass-fed butter.
What I never so grass-fed, what does that even mean?
It means that the cows that, like, you can have grass-fed beef and grass-fed butter. So I assume that's what it means, but how do you... So grass-fed means that they are on a farm and they're allowed to graze, right? Like a normal cow would graze. And that tends to lead to a much better tasting and more natural kind of beef. Whereas a lot of cows in huge farming industries, they're actually fed all sorts of different things like
steroids,
like meats and like just slop, and just I don't really know exactly what is contained in these things that they get fed, but they just sit there in stalls and just eat whatever the farmer gives them, like corn. I think it's corn. Corn is the biggest problem, I think, because cows don't naturally eat corn, but because corn is just overproduced and is used in so many different things and typically not necessarily.
Corn has like almost no nutritional value because our bodies don't even digest it. It just goes right on through.
Right. Corn is just, it's kind of a filler food. And so they feed like cows just tons of corn or tons of like this and that. That's not good, or not. It doesn't, it just keeps them alive. Whereas grass-fed, it's more natural. They're walking around, and it tends to just taste better. And do
you get like some kind of guarantee with that?
That it really is grass-fed?
Yeah.
I think there's probably FDA maybe has to regulate it, and you have to, like, the cows have to be grazing for, so many hours of their lives, or, like per day or something. I don't really know how it works.
I think the only way I would believe it is if they had like a little personal video attached to the thing of meat, and then like some diary entries about how, like, what they did that day.
Yeah.
Just like real like evidence that it was like they have to have portraits of the family and the cow eating the grass in the field.
And then the final portrait is of them murdering the cow for you. Yeah.
It's like timeline photography of the cow's life. I was just wondering, because I've seen like a lot of people are like, oh my God, look at this grass-fed hamburger that I had. I'm just like, so I assume that just means the cow ate grass when it was alive.
Yeah, it's not the hamburger that ate the grass.
I think when your brother posted one of those he posted one of those pictures on Twitter, and I wanted to just be like,
be sarcastic about it.
How did that meat patty eat the grass? Like, is it alive?
Yeah.
And then I let it go.
There's just like grass like shoved into the burger.
It's tough to be sarcastic like that online, because then people, like, I didn't want them to think that I was like really dumb and was asking a serious question.
Or
so
you were like acting like his belief that it's better is like retarded. Like, oh, you're fucking stupid. Grass-fed don't mean shit. We were talking about grass-fed butter, and I was like, so there's just butter like laying on a field? I don't get it.
Sucking up grass.
Yeah.
It doesn't shit it out into more butter.
I don't know. I had this Ethiopian coffee with grass-fed butter, and then I put a little bit of coconut milk in it. And,
that sounds like it was like a $12 drink.
No, it was. I mean, super cheap. Really, ultimately. I mean, he buys all that stuff in bulk, so coconut milk isn't expensive. The Ethiopian was a little bit more expensive as far as like really good coffee.
So I thought you guys like went to.
No, we didn't go somewhere. He made it in his house.
Ridiculous Portland. cafe.
Dude, Portland's so silly. It's so stereotypical like that show. And like we were walking down the road, and it's just a big city, and there's lots of diversity there. So you just see everything you would see in a normal big city, but with a lot more like hippies and bums. So there was.
I felt like I was walking through a fucking zoo last time. The few times that I've gone there and like walked around, I'm just like, what? This is like a human zoo.
Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous.
There's just so much diversity of interesting stuff to look at. Like there was a Filipino guy singing rock songs with a microphone and guitar and an amplifier, and it was good. It was like decent. I was glad that I was at that corner to listen to it while we go across
while you're waiting for your
for
signal
the
to turn so you could walk across the street.
Yeah, and then there was like a bum, and he just had like so much interesting stuff on his backpack, and it was just like, oh yeah, I'm in Portland. Like, oh yeah, it's totally what it's like. And then you know it's that coupled with a really nice restaurant, like a really upscale, like really nice restaurant. And so that's what the difference is, you know, like that's like, it's the same in New York. I mean, just way more people and way bigger buildings and more stuff to look at. But it kind of reminded me of like a big city, you know, because it is pretty big.
Yeah, it's also like one of the first, I haven't been in like that many big cities. Like I lived in Vegas for a while, but I never saw this when I was there. But I'm in Portland, like there's just homeless people like all over the sidewalk at night, like sleeping and stuff. And I'm just like, this is so fucking weird. Like it's so weird to me to just that they just camp out and just sleep. Because I know a lot of times that like the police and stuff will like make them get up and like move along, kind of a thing.
I think during the day they do because they disturb.
It must be such like a big thing at night that they're just like, fuck it, just let them.
Oh, especially in New York. Like I mean, at night there's just alleyways just full of fucking people. There's like I think in either California or New York, there's like a street that just is all tent. It's just tents. It's just like all homeless people, and it's like a village. It's just that just live there, and there's nothing anybody does about it, and it's like, fuck it, you know what? They're not really a problem until the crazy one is a problem, you know. There was a Jamie Foxx movie where he plays it was based on a true story where he was a violinist.
Oh yeah, that's the one with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, and it was a really good movie, very heartbreaking and interesting, and you know, he's like a schizophrenic who is homeless, but he's like amazing at his art.
It's a musical genius.
Yeah, musical genius or whatever, and but he like they show that tent village or whatever. In I forget what it's called. It's got a whole name, and it's like a place, you know, people avoid essentially.
It's like Washington D.C. or something like that.
It might be. I think that was in Washington D.C. That might have been where it was. One of those big cesspools.
No, I meant that was the name of the community.
All those fucking parasites, fucking taking our tax money and ruining the government and whatnot. And
take my tax money and go buy yourself a new tent.
Yeah, go buy yourself
a bitch.
New Lexus, you fucking aristocrats. Anyway, I think we're about done.
No, that's a good spot to end it. Aristocrats, bitches.
Have you ever heard of the Aristocrats
Have you ever heard of the
joke?
Aristocats? Oh, what? No, I haven't.
I never watched that movie. But there's an Aristocrats joke, which is like the most vulgar joke, and then everyone tells it. There's a whole documentary where it's just different comics telling different versions of the Aristocrat joke, and it's horrible. It's a horrible joke. I would definitely. It wasn't even that funny. It's not supposed to be funny. It's just supposed to.
Just a thing that everybody
on aristocrats. Yeah. It has to do with like pooping in mouths and fucking incest and stuff. And then it's like, what's the name of the joke? The Aristocrats is like the punchline. And then you're just like,
oh, that's funny.
Oh.
I think I'd rather not like that one, actually.
Yes. Actually, my father's the Duke of Harrington, of Joey Harrington, the UFO alumni.
What?
He was a football player.
I came over from
this sounds white.
Overseas to go to the University of Oregon.
Yes.
My father sent me.
The Earl of Cornwallington.
And perhaps to purchase some land from you and set up shop. Set up a plantation.
Do you have any people I could buy?
Do you know where I might find a group of young, you call them African American men.
Yes.
I've heard that they're quite good at working fields.
Yes.
I will pay them, of course. Of course,
Yes.
it's not slavery. I'm going
Yes,
to pay
I mean
them.
it's fucking 1997. What? I don't know why I came up with that.
It's not 1997.
What?
What year is this?
Where am I from? Essex. Fuck. Every way but Essex.
I think that if you were looking for cheap labor, it would just be Mexicans, right? That's the racial.
That's the stereotype now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
But see, this guy was from 97. So if we retold that whole scenario.
I think 97 was, I think there were still Mexicans.
Yeah, probably.
I think there still wasn't slavery technically in America.
That's like the gray period.
The gray period?
Yeah,
Is
where
that what it's
there
known for in
maybe wasn't slavery.
1997?
Maybe there was still a lot of racial segregation. Who knows?
There was no racial segregation in 97, man. Not really. Not legally.
I lived in a deep south town.
Oh.
None of this is true. I'm just fucking
Yeah, we're
making
just
it up.
rambling right now. We have nothing.
This is what happens when
nothing
we
to
don't
add.
know how to stop.
Yeah.
We don't know where to end it, so
Yeah.
we just keep going until
Nothing to say.
silence
At
falls.
all. But anyway, thanks for everyone for listening. Oh, and I was on the Spouting Off podcast, like we mentioned earlier. So if you want to check that out, my brother will post that on his website, Josh DeGray, and you can listen to me talk more than you just did.
Whoa!
I don't know why you would want to do that, but if you do, check it out. Fuck it. I don't know. Maybe you're bored.
You can only find the Redneck God here on
Yeah.
Fleeting Thoughts.
Did you know there's these things called celebrities, and they're way more interesting? I'm just kidding. We're the best. Anyway.
We do our best.
So, yeah.
All right, well, everybody, you have a good night now and good luck.